10 auditors, and it's not that much bigger, which, I think just is not right. I would like to see the city of Minneapolis have 4 or 5 auditors so they can really take a look at some stuff. This is from the State Auditor's Report of the City of Minneapolis, and this is from the summary. And if you go to my website, you can get a link to this report. And it says, significant deficiencies in internal work control were disclosed by the audit of the financial statements of the City of Minneapolis. Significant deficiencies. Significant deficiencies relating to the audit of major federal programs are reported. Our previous report identified 2 significant weaknesses in the city's payroll policies and procedure. The first was that the current payroll staff lacked sufficient knowledge and understanding of the city's payroll activities, so that the city relied heavily on a retired part-time individual for that knowledge. The second was that certain staff involved with the processing of payroll, who are both a representative and both department representative and a payroll representative, have the ability to create employees, add hours to pay lines, and change banking information in the HRIS system, all without electronic approvals. No controls are in place to prevent these staff from both initiating and improving the same journal entries. The system does not provide an audit trail to indicate which staff with approval access actually did the posting to the system. In addition, there is no formal oversight or review of the process of journal entry activity. In reviewing the financial statements, they discovered there was some mistakes in the way depreciation and accumulated depreciation, which is all the depreciation for prior years, was done. And the adjustments they recommended was range from $1.5 million to almost $4 million.
And that
was the records for depreciation, in other words, were in one department were off by $4 million. There's an intergovernment receivable and related deferred revenue, and there was errors in that totaling almost $15.6 million. Let me repeat that. $15.6 million errors that totaled that.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it looks pretty clear. I mean, it's right there, black and white from the auditor. What do they say to defend themselves?
The city says, well, we've got a new accounting system. We're working on it. Things will get better.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it. The infamous, we're working on it.
Yeah.
If I'm elected, I'm going to go ask the city, in November and December, have these problems been fixed?
Yeah, yeah.
And if they haven't, I'm going to make a big stink about it and want to know why they haven't been fixed. Information about one program, a grant, the auditor had to go to the Minnesota Department of Transportation to identify the projects and amounts reimbursed in this program because the city's records were so poor. And in doing some other audits, they found that there was a federal grant that was not even recorded on the city's books. Is this an organization that only needs one auditor, or is this an organization that needs a lot more auditing?
I always want to just, hear this sort of thing and just kind of...
Like, wow.
Well, I first want to say, well, does this happen in a lot of cities? Is it easy to overlook all this? Is it... But, I mean, even if it is, that's no excuse. These aren't pennies here.
Everyone should know this and start asking questions of the mayor and city council. How did you guys let this happen? And what are you going to do to keep it from happening again? I will tell you a little bit about my background.
Okay.
As far as I know, I am the only candidate for the Board of Estimate and Taxation that has actually worked as an auditor sometime in my professional work career. one of the other 5 candidates may have worked as an auditor, but I'm not aware of it. I've also worked as the manager of a 6-person accounting department for a $100 million bank. I've worked with people to develop complex strategies for $1 million transactions. I know what it's like to go through the current financial stress homeowners are. I worked at Farm Credit Banks during the 80s when it was foreclosing a lot of farmers, which was not a fun thing for me to experience because I come from a farming community, and so it was people like I grew up with were being foreclosed on. It's not fun.
Yeah, this is good to know. I appreciate you coming on and informing us about this position. It's not a very well-known spot on the municipal government, but clearly, as you bring the light here today, there are some tidbits that are pretty pertinent to the finances of the city, and so as a result, the finances that we all pay through our rents and property taxes. So, thanks for coming on the show.
Yep.
Appreciate your time. All right.